Alright, so for civil procedure, we're continuing our discussion about specific personal jurisdiction, and we're going to focus more on contacts. But we're going to be discussing more about how to actually show that you obtained a sufficient minimum contact. I'll just go over a bit of rules through a couple of cases. Today we're going to be talking about foreseeability, and whether or not foreseeability is enough to establish a sufficient minimum contact. And that what we're going to learn from the courts is that no, foreseeability alone is not enough to find SPJ. So we're going to look at Worldwide Volkswagen v. Woodson just quickly and go over the quick takeaways. So there are 4 defendants in this case. Woodson's are the plaintiffs. And there are 4 defendants: Audi, Volkswagen of America, Worldwide Volkswagen, and Seaway. Seaway and Worldwide Volkswagen are both based in New York. They're a car dealership, and they're like a shipment agency for Volkswagen. Volkswagen of America and Audi are foreign corporations that can have specific personal jurisdiction in these cases, but they're going to go to a federal court. So let me just go over quickly the details so that this makes a little bit more sense. Here, Woodson was domiciled in New York, and they were currently moving to Arizona. And as they were passing through Oklahoma, and they were involved in a car accident which caused the vehicle to cause on fire. And the person who caused the accident obviously had no money, so they don't want to sue that person because they need to pay for their damages somehow. He had no insurance, no money, and so they're going to sue, or at least attempt to sue, Worldwide Volkswagen. But they want to do this in a state court, somebody who might be more partial to their claim. So they want to do this in Oklahoma, a rural county in Oklahoma, because the jury pool from that area is going to be more partial to their claim. Worldwide Volkswagen doesn't want that to happen. Or rather, Audi doesn't want that to happen, because federal courts tend to benefit corporations more fully. So they want to be in a federal court, either in Oklahoma, New York, wherever it might be. They just want to be in a federal court. And they can be in a federal court. But we're trying to see whether or not the 2 other parties, Worldwide Volkswagen and Seaway, can be sued in this state court. The reason why they want to sue so bad in the state court is because they want to win their case. And they know it's going to be a tricky case if they are in a federal court. So that's why they're suing in Oklahoma. So the forum state is Oklahoma. They're domiciled in New York. The accident arose out of Oklahoma. And the companies that they're suing are in New York. So they're trying to make this claim that they can be sued there because of their accident. The courts disagree, because they say that foreseeability is not enough to constitute a sufficient minimum contact. What happened here is that the plaintiffs purchased a vehicle in New York and then drove it out of New York. So the argument is that the company should have foreseen that we took the vehicle out of state. And Worldwide Volkswagen is like, no, I don't think that's really the case, because you took the car yourself. We didn't send the car there. We didn't advertise there. We didn't service any vehicles in the area. And so this is entirely your own doing that the car left the state. We didn't personally avail ourselves to the state of Oklahoma. And therefore the state of Oklahoma has no jurisdiction over Worldwide Volkswagen. And that's exactly what the court agrees with. They say that foreseeability is a factor, but it is not sufficient to establish a minimum contact on its own. So you need to look at the foreseeability of a product leaving the state. And then you also need to say, okay, did the conduct of the defendants personally avail them to that state? This is different, for example, if a defendant gets lost. They can foresee that they get lost, and they didn't intend to go into that state. But if they cause an accident in that state, then they can still be personally availed to that state because they foresaw that they could be lost, and then their conduct was enough to establish a sufficient minimum contact. But that's not the case in Worldwide Volkswagen. They did not personally avail themselves to the state, and so there is no purposeful availment. So the big takeaways is the parties matter, who sues who, where they sue them is a big relevant of why lawyers do what they do. Second takeaway is that foreseeability isn't enough. It is a factor, it is relevant, but the conduct of the defendants must also be involved. So foreseeability plus conduct is necessary. We talked about being lost. You can foresee being lost, but it's the conduct that matters in that. And then, again, it's that the defendants need to avail themselves. If the plaintiffs avail themselves, that has nothing to do with the defendant. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Law Schoolers. Before I let you go, there are 4 things I want to say. The first thing is if you enjoyed these episodes and if you enjoyed the website, I would invite you to go and join Law Schoolers Pro. And you can do that by going to lawschoolers.com/join. It's a way for you to support us, but there's also a lot of features there that I think you will enjoy. Second thing is that nearly all of our episodes are unedited. The only ones that aren't are pre-law materials, and the reason for that is so you can actually see the legal material in its raw form as I'm learning it as well. The third thing is that the information contained in these episodes are specifically only for educational purposes. They're not to be used as legal advice, and with that, the fourth thing is if it is used as legal advice, we are not liable. That is, Law Schoolers is not liable for any legal outcomes. Thank you again for enjoying the show. Have a good one.